Hey everyone, my name is Darren Becket, and welcome to my virtual talk show, Living a Better Life. In this episode, I go deep with my friend Gabriel Logan Braun, sound healer, musician, and life coach. In this episode, you want to make sure you have a comfy pair of headphones on and that you stay till the end because we'll be doing a demo of Gabriel's sound experience, the Sonic Womb. Make sure you sign up for Gabriel's next sound experience. It's going to be July 19th from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook Live. And with that said, let's get to the conversation. Here we go.
What's up, Darren? It's good to
How you
be here,
doing?
man. Thank you for having me.
Gabriel and I have been talking a little bit about this transition from the wellness world of being on site with people to more virtual experiences. And Gabriel has been blessed to be able to still work on site with some of his clients. How has that been, Gabriel? How have you been able to use this moment in history to actually benefit yourself and your clients?
It's a great question. Wow. Where to begin? I would say, well, first of all, if we backtrack a little bit, so just to say, like, I work in treatment centers for drug and alcohol addiction, mostly in Malibu and on the West Side, and I've been doing it for about a decade. And, you know, that type of work alone, independent of our current world, circumstances, is kind of it's a job where you're giving a lot of your energy to help others in need, and it requires a lot of self-care, just in general, and the ability to really, I find, like, walk my talk. It's like, okay, if people are going to look to me for certain advice or whatever, helping them get clear and whatever their next step is in their healing process, it's really important for me to show up and do the work on myself too. So now fast forward to our current global situation. It's been an interesting time in general, and then in these treatment centers, they are considered a part of the healthcare industry, so they're an essential business, and they have remained open, and they do have various protocols to follow, from, as you could imagine, temperature check, hand sanitizer, COVID testing of both staff and clients, to wearing masks, all these things that are in play and in order. And so on one hand, it's been tricky, right? Because it's like, you still don't have, you have in-person sessions, individuals and groups, but there's social distancing, or there's wearing a mask, that kind of thing. So it does make it, on one hand, a little bit more challenging to really connect in the full way that we'd like to, just as we would in everyday life, with people. But on another hand, it's been a great challenge to still, just like I'm doing with you right now, like, bring forth my full energy and deliver that and share that with people, no differently than I would with you in person, whether we're social distancing or whether we're giving each other a hug. That is, I believe, still palpable. It's still something that can be felt. And, I remember someone saying, or reading this, or I don't even know how it came, but, like, the ways in which you can smile isn't just with your mouth. You can smile with your eyes, and people can see that, and they can also feel it,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, I think clients are definitely struggling with the situation, just as much, as the staff are, and we're trying to accommodate and do what we can. And, it's like, people all want to wear masks, and it's like all this, but it's like, you do what you can to work with what is. And certainly this time has been even more challenging for people who are either in recovery or dealing with addiction, because, as they say, idle mind is the devil's playground. Not that I believe that to a T, but I certainly take it like a grain of salt. And I do believe that, it's like, if you're not able to connect with your community as much, or have those interpersonal relationships and connections, and your work is taken away, and all these things, right? And then you have a drug addiction issue on top of that. I mean, it's the perfect recipe for relapse. It's the perfect recipe for winding yourself up in a treatment center. And thank God, that we are open, and that we can serve these people, especially in this time. So
Yeah.
There you go.
Well said. And I love, you and I, we did go on a hike the other day. We did do a great job, I thought, of managing the social distancing and doing the protocols, and also kind of giving ourselves permission to trust each other, right? Ask the right questions and communicate and be what we would call in a relationship. Right? And I find that that's something that we're really starting to explore differently because of this time. And because of our experience in the wellness space, and because we're also helping people to be able to relax a little bit, to be able to open up and be vulnerable and sensitive and to feel themselves, and then give them a safe container to work with that energy. I think there's something really beautiful about what you said about this relating piece. And I'd love to hear more, because on our hike, you brought that up, and my mind was kind of blown, because you had this lens. It was like, no longer can we continue to try and, I want to say, like, put our hands in the cookie jar too much, right? When it comes to, well, like, this protocol is not okay, in my opinion, whether it's wearing a mask or whether it's not social distancing, and that there's a responsibility to that opinion. And that if we're working together and we're understanding our community, sometimes our own dogma goes away, because we realize that we're part of something bigger. And it's important, I think, and I'd love your opinion, it's important to think of the other just as much as we're thinking about ourselves right now.
Absolutely, man. And I do recall exactly what we were talking about. And I had mentioned, like, having this team play mindset, as well as really honing in and aligning with what your truth is, and also letting other people be right, and not try to push them away, or essentially, like, make them wrong because it's different than what you feel, that kind of thing. I mean, everything from, like, the COVID situation to George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, and all this happening around the same time, and bringing up a lot of opportunity to relate with people perhaps in a different way than maybe most people are used to doing, because we are realizing, like, as you said, I mean, it's like the world is getting smaller and smaller. This is affecting everybody, from the wealthiest, richest people to the people who are on the streets, or on welfare, or whatever it is, and independent of also nationality, gender, race, all of that. We're all affected. So it is true. I mean, it is really an incredible opportunity to learn how to work together more with each other, and respect each other's opinions, and not have to agree with one another, but yet let each other be in their, in each other's truths or opinions. So, for me, I just find, like, just as an example, it's like, okay, let's just say one person feels, they don't need to wear a mask, but yet they're around other people who strongly feel that they need to wear a mask. And this person, if they're not wearing a mask, well, most likely they're going to cause the people around them that feel strongly about wearing masks to be very uncomfortable, or to get upset, or whatever the thing is. So it really is looking about the bigger picture and team playing with everybody. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe that goes against what I believe for myself, but do I really want to piss off this person or these people around me? Do I really want to cause more, upset and fear and all these kinds of things that are going around right now in our world? It's like, there's enough of that. I don't need to contribute more to that. I want to contribute things to people that are going to bring them into a place where they're more deeply connected, where they're feeling more safe, where they're feeling more at peace with themselves, independent of the circumstances of the world, which are not easy by any means for anyone, So I feel that there's a real opportunity and need for this, especially now. And there always has been. I mean, this is This is like
Been
essential.
going on for a while.
Yeah. You know, and at the same time, like, you know, all the fear mongering and people like fighting one another and taking sides and stuff. I mean, look, people are going to do that. I'm not here to put my energy to go against and to fight people. I do believe strongly in standing up for what is morally acceptable and true for myself and for other people. You know, like, I believe that is a responsibility as a world citizen, as a human being, you know, who cares about other people's well-being and, you know, all of it. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying just sit on your ass and do nothing, but at the same time, I think there's actually it's more than just taking sides or going against, you know.
Yeah. I think there's got to be something to be said about how much energy one has to do things in life, right? So I guess my question is, most people are feeling tired. Most people feel like they don't have the energy to go do the thing that's going to help bring them into a better space, or to be a little bit more calm and collected, or to be able to have an opinion and to be able to communicate, okay, like, this is actually what I'm feeling, and this is how I want to speak my truth. And then also I want to be heard. I want people to listen to me as well. So I guess, you know, where do you get your energy? Where do you get the energy to continue to be at this level? And I would say, like, there's a difference between high performance, I guess we could call it that. But I think what I'm feeling more is, like, where does your inspiration, where does your creativity come from? Because you're not just a life coach, you're a sound healer and a musician. You are using frequencies to healing frequencies and the combination of them to help bring harmony to people's world. And I know that you know, you're doing that in person, and you're also starting to explore that in a more virtual space. So I guess, yeah, once again, my question is, where do you get your energy, man? How are you able to do so much?
Right. So I like this saying that I share with a lot of people that I work with, which is, if you want to get juice out of a lemon, you got to squeeze it. It doesn't come out on its own.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you know, think of a mother who's in labor, right? There's a combination of, you know, in order to get the baby out, what does she do? Well, she contracts, and then she expands and contracts and expands. What does our heart do? It contracts and expands, right? So it's not just about squeezing the juice out of a lemon, but that's very important. It's also about, you know, allowing the juice to flow, you know, effortlessly, and doing both. And so to bring it to a more kind of concrete, day-to-day practical understanding for people, is that, you know, on the real, as they say, it really is about, for me personally, and it's different for everybody, but for me personally, I would say some of the things that really allow me to have, you know, I feel like a good amount of energy, creative energy to share with others and give out to others is, first of all, you know, doing things that are healthy and good for my body, like eating incredible, you know, organic, simple, not processed, good, clean food, locally grown if I can, you know, relationship with the farmers and where it came from and all that, to being in nature, you know. And I say nature, I mean, everything is nature, but nature as in trails and the woods and the ocean, you know, as often as I can, getting outside, breathing in clean air, not just staying in my house and, you know, letting myself get run down by all of my thoughts and the fear and what's on the television. That's part of, I would say, having a healthy dose of how much information I take in and how I use that information. I would actually say that's like a really big key that for me to keep sustaining my energy, because there's so much right now fear going on and being widespread through media and all kinds of things. Not that I don't feel that fear, I do. It's what I do with it. Laird Hamilton, the big wave surfer, was quoted saying, you know, in an interview, they asked him, so Laird, when you know, ride these giant waves, you know, you look like a tiny little ant, like, you must be fearless. And he quickly interjected and saying, you know, no, actually, I feel fear. I'm human, just like everybody. It's what I do with that fear that's probably different than most people. He's like, the flip side of fear is commitment. So what I do with that fear is I commit to dropping in on that wave, even though I'm feeling butterflies or fear. And the moment I choose to commit and go for it, I have all this energy. I'm focused. I'm grounded. I'm dialed in. I'm in the flow of what I'm doing, right? So for me personally, I'm really careful about what I choose to watch on TV or the internet or YouTube, what I choose to listen to, you know, from podcasts like yours to music. All of it is influencing my energy. And I think sometimes we don't realize how much we are exposed to that is out of our control, that we don't even realize that can zap our energy. So, you know, I feel like this is definitely a much bigger discussion, but I'll kind of just say, you know, that's a big piece, and the cultivation of my own life force or energy. I, you know, certainly through practices like qigong, yoga, breath work, meditation, doing the sound baths, for me is actually reciprocal. Like when I give that energy out, it comes back to me. It's something that I, you know, was led to through my own healing, and now I'm sharing that with others, you know. And I will say also, just because I don't want to leave anything out, and of course I know I will, but certainly for me during these times, it's been also really, really amazing to have still a sense of community and friends, and of course my partner that I live with, you know. And for people who don't live with somebody, you know, the more you can connect with your friends, even if it's virtually or you social distance on a hike or whatever, like we did, I mean, it makes a world of difference, you know, in terms of my energy. So I'll leave it at that for now.
I love it, man. It's an ecosystem. I'm always, you know, in the meditations, I'm always going back. The first thing I always imagine is the Earth's magnetic field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the spaceship Earth, the spaceship that we're on, floating at millions of miles an hour through the universe. And it has this beautiful field that keeps us healthy, right? This frequency that is generated from the Earth's core is part of the life force, and it's so important. And I'm hearing from you, it's like even more important to not only be aware of that frequency, that healing life force, but also to honor the ecosystem, the boundaries that we create, being a little bit more selective about what we're watching, being more selective about the relationships that we're in. You know, I know that some people have been, that they kind of understood that something like what's going on in the world now was going to happen on some level. And I feel like that community started to prep our belief systems for a different world, one where we're not going to be able to maybe hug in the same way, but because we feel each other through the heart, right? Part of what we're helping people to connect with is the heart space, and this grand connector between all of us. And there's a feeling of energy that we're co-collecting, right? You're an energetic field, I'm an energetic field, and when we're even closer to that, and there's the Earth, there can be this harmonious flow of energy that helps benefit everything, not only just me personally, but you personally, also our relationship, also the people that we're walking by. I'm often being reminded, especially more now, that when I'm around people, I have a responsibility to show up in a high vibrational way, meaning everything that you said, right? Like, what am I eating? There's a great qigong master a few years ago that was on an interview, and he said, I think the person was asking him about, like, well, like, what does the qigong master eat? And he said, I eat everything. My ears are eating the chi, my nose is eating the chi, my eyes are eating the chi, my every cell is eating the chi around it, right? This nourishment that is constantly there. When I understood that for me personally, I was able to run further. I felt like I had more energy. I was able to give more as well. And I feel like that's what you're saying, is just like, these aren't complex things, right? We know that eating good, nutritious meals is important. We know that movement is really important. we know that healthy relationships are going to be better for our success emotionally, and also for the success of maybe even our life's work, our career, our job, whatever that may be. But then there's also what helps to remedy that. And I think that's my transition into the sonic womb experience that you give and you're now doing. I've got to experience it firsthand in person. It's it blew my mind. There's a ton of sound healing out there. Hit some bowls. I do it myself. I hit the bowl, I ring it. I think I'm a master at it. But Gabriel, you truly are, like, you're doing more with sound than I've ever seen anyone else do, and you're doing it in your flavor. And I think that's part of the beauty of it. So, and I say that because your last sound bath for me, even though I wasn't able to spend the whole time on it, a few moments gave me back some nourishment, some time I felt in my body that my body needed to replenish energies. So I would love for you to tell us more about what the sonic womb experience is, maybe a little bit of history about how you came to it. And then I'm going to play a clip from your last sound experience so that the audience can get just a little personal experience about what they can expect for their next one.
Awesome, man. Cool. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And yeah, so that name Sonic Womb, for people out there, kind of, I guess, more of a mainstream common name nowadays is a sound bath, right? Sound bath meditation, or sound healing as people call it.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, just for people listening and watching, it's where there's a space that's set up for you to practice being mindful of your breath, your body, and the sounds of the music, and more than just hearing the music, actually physically sensing and feeling the vibrations of the music and certain instruments that transmit a particular vibration that you literally can feel in your body. And oftentimes when I talk about this, I immediately go into more of the science, because people think I'm off my rocker a little bit if I don't, who've never experienced it, or they're at least on the fence about it, which, believe me, I would be too. So the science of sound, just, is that sound is always in motion, and it's moving through space and time. And when you have a lower pitch sound, like example would be a motorcycle engine rumbling, the sound waves are moving slower, which means that they actually will move into lower parts of your body, like your legs or your belly, right? Whereas a high pitch sound like a fire siren, as you know, gets your attention, right? You're very alert and astute, and it's like it does this kind of thing, right? And that's because the sound waves are moving quickly, which means you experience the sound higher up in your body. So now imagine taking certain instruments that are tuned at certain frequencies that emit certain vibrations, whether low or high or in between, combining that with all different instruments from around the world, and also using loop and effect pedals as I do with these instruments, and also my voice, as you'll soon get to see and hear. Then it takes you on this, incredible journey within yourself. And when I say yourself, self with a capital S, meaning your mind, body, spirit connection of yourself, and experiencing something perhaps, as simple as just a deep relaxation, right? But it also could be a very spiritual or highly connected experience within yourself. I've had people that, that have come that experience what I do, that maybe they never felt that way before. They never felt so peaceful in their entire lives. I've literally had people tell me things like that. And it just, brings so much joy to me and to my heart to know that this music, and I say this, it's not my music, but this music that comes through me, that is captured in a moment in time and then gone, and of course there's recordings of it, but still in the moment, that's the beautiful thing. It's like an improvisation. I never know exactly what I'm going to do until it kind of comes through. I have a combination of different instruments that I use, but the way that it comes through in each, unique sound, sonic womb experience is different. So, and then also how you show up as a viewer and listener to the live stream, or in person, that will also just, be different every time, because we don't always feel the same way every day, right? We're always changing and shifting. so back to the sonic womb, that name came to me one day because I was really thinking of like a friend of mine who was actually pregnant who came to the sound bath. And you know, I was like, wow, like just like this mother has got a womb and the baby is, you know, embraced and enveloped by this being who, you know, is tending and loving and taking care of this child, soon to be child, you know, in the same kind of way, and feeling safe, right, and held and contained and all of that, so that it can just express itself and be free, you know. In the same way, I want the sounds that come through in this experience to do the same thing for people. So a lot of times when we go through life, we don't feel safe. We're in fight or flight, right? And when we can finally feel safe, we can let our guard down. And when we let our guard down, our nervous system can go out of sympathetic fight or flight into parasympathetic rest and digest mode. And the sounds and the music help to really do that, you know? So it's a real combination of, you know, being mindful, guiding people through some breathing exercises, getting in their body, you know, out of their Babble of Babylon, as I like to call it, you know, between their two ears.
I feel
And
like the sonic womb is a perfect remedy to the Zoom room, right? Like
yeah,
you're so stiff for so long, and then just being able to take it
right.
out, move it out, is so important.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, exactly. I know. And that's the thing too. It's like we get so, you know, we hold so much in, right? And there's
Yeah.
only so many places to really let it unwind or let it go. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be this cathartic thing that we like, oh, we just got to get it off our chest and get it out and scream it out. But at the same time, there's room for people to just be where they're at, you know, um, and we all have our days, you know, where like even, you know, when we're talking about like, you know, having a certain level of awareness or mindfulness or being more exposed to some of these practices, you and I, since we were a bit younger, you know, and having cultivated or developed some of that, it's like, yeah, I do feel like there is a certain responsibility to just walk my talk. At the same time, like I have my moments where I feel like shit and I'm not
You're human.
holding a higher vibration, and it's like we're human, we all are, you know. And so back to the sonic womb, it's like to be able to show up in any place, and with the sound it will shift your vibration, it will realign you back into your connection with yourself, you know.
I've experienced that. I mean, I love sound in general. I've been listening. I remember when I was in middle school, I found like a trance track. It was to Beethoven's Fifth, and first time it was on a CD. And I'm skateboarding home, and I got home. I had thought that I got home this, you know, same. I think it took me about 30 minutes, and I had gotten home in 15 minutes, and I didn't even realize it. It was just like I was in this zone, and that zone with the beaded music, having had experienced that years later using sacred sound instruments, whether it's flutes, the handpan, or a sound bowl, a gong, or simply chimes, right? There's something incredibly soothing about, and also really integrative about that experience. And I know that's also, you know, I call it going back to kindergarten. Some people don't like that, but what I really mean is beginner's mind, right? Like I don't, when you come into the sound bath, there's nothing to achieve. It's simply to bring myself into the room, and then to be able to relax into what you're providing. Because even though I know you're so humble, you may say it's not yours, and I know what you mean by that. But I also want to say, like, you have something that you bring to these sound experiences, and they are experiences. You're an artist, and that experience is different every single time. So, you know, Gabriel has been doing how long have you been doing the sonic bath, by the way?
Yeah, it's been about, I think, 7 or 8 years now, almost close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I know you have roots with other, you know, sound musicians, Bhakti Yoga Shala in Santa Monica, and you have spent
Yeah.
quite a bit of time learning from other teachers. But this experience now going virtual, I was so excited because I can't always make it live, or maybe I want to watch it later, but I want to also support what you're doing because it's so instrumental, I think. to the world and to healing the space that we're in. And so I also wanted to bring that to this space where telling people that, what you're doing, when's the next one, give them a little flavor of it, and then be able to have them experience themselves. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen. And if you want, you put your headphones on or find yourself in a nice, comfortable space if you're not already there. If you're driving, please stay watching the road. And I'm going to play a little bit of the last sonic womb experience that Gabriel had live.
Awesome.
Epic, man.
Thank you.
It's really epic stuff. I got a loss for words. You had me. It's like I felt like there was a snake in my spine readjusting. I mean, your work is just, yeah. I hope you know how much I love your work. It's truly amazing, and you really are an artist. I want to remind people when your next sound experience is Sonic Womb, and then also, where they can find it. So I believe your next one is July 19th. That's coming up in a little bit.
Sunday,
this
July
week.
19th. Yeah.
Sunday, July 19th from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
And where can they find the live feed?
Yeah, so you just go to my website, GabrielLoganBraun.com, and then look under the events page, and you'll see that's the next one that's listed there. Just click there, and then you'll find the links, which can either be on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, depending on what you prefer. Yeah.
So you get to choose your platform. I watched it on Facebook Live last time. The sound quality was amazing, and the visuals obviously also very entertaining. Super excited for your next one, Gabriel.
Thank you. And I also should mention that you do not need to pre-register for these. Right now, it is a free offering with the donation option. So, just show up at that time and you'll be able to stream in.
Yeah. We'll also put the Gabriel's website in the comments, and also the link to the experience. That way, make sure you get a reminder. I know sometimes life gets ahead of us and we forget. You're definitely going to want to remind yourself to show up for this one.
Thank you.
Awesome. Gabriel, thanks so much for being on. I really appreciate your presence, your energy. Thanks for taking the time, and I look forward to having a chat in the future.
Thank you so much, Darren. You're awesome, bro. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.